ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. Verily all praises are due to Allah. We seek His help and we seek His forgiveness. We seek refuge with Allah from the evil of our own souls and from our evil deeds. Whomsoever Allah guides can never be led astray, and whomsoever Allah allows to stray can never be guided. I bear witness that there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah the One, having no partners, and I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is His slave and His messenger. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. O you who believe, have taqwa of Allah as you should have taqwa of Allah, and die not except in a state of Islam. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم يغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. O you who believe, have taqwa of Allah and speak a straightforward word. He will repair your deeds and forgive your sins. And whoever takes Allah and His messenger as a guide has already achieved the mightiest achievement. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, I want to begin with a couple of stories from the past, and then you will understand why they are relevant. So if you'll allow me for 2 or 3 minutes, I want you to cast your minds back in time. Indulge me and cast your minds back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, and imagine a time where a small baby boy was born blind in Uzbekistan. This small baby boy was born blind in Uzbekistan to a very, very pious woman. And she had the ultimate tawakkul in Allah, and she made dua upon dua upon dua that Allah would cure her baby's blindness. Lo and behold, Allah cured her baby's blindness, and her baby not only was cured from blindness, but got such clear vision that later in life he was able to see things other people couldn't see. He was able even to write a book just by the light of the moon and the stars. As he grew up, she became orphaned. He became orphaned, she became widowed. She decided, as a widow with an orphan child, that the importance of her son, this boy who was blind and Allah cured him, learning knowledge of the deen was so important. She went from Uzbekistan, she made hijrah to Makkah. And in Makkah, she made him sit in the circles of hadith, and she made him listen to hadith, and his name was Muhammad ibn Ismail. She made a sacrifice, and that sacrifice was for her son to seek knowledge. And every single one of us in this room knows who he is. We may not know him as Muhammad ibn Ismail, but almost every Muslim in the world knows him by the book he wrote. Because his name, his book is Sahih al-Bukhari. He was known as Imam al-Bukhari. Muhammad ibn Ismail, Imam al-Bukhari. I want to just give another example, and then we'll come on to our subject. Even further back in time, in Baghdad this time, imagine cold winter mornings in Iraq, in Baghdad. Another orphan boy was woken up way before Fajr by his mother. His mother had warmed up water for him to make wudu with, and then she would take him wrapped up in a shawl through the streets of Baghdad to the Fajr Salah in the mosque. After Fajr Salah in the mosque, she would dutifully wait until way after the shuruq. Why? Because she wanted him to sit in the circles of knowledge, which traditionally in our history, circles of knowledge always sat after Fajr. Always sat after Fajr. Now if you have a circle of anything after Fajr, there'll only be the Imam and the Muaddin there, nobody else is going to be there. But after Fajr is when the circles of knowledge, hundreds of people would gather, and she would then dutifully walk him back. You also know him, and he became Ahmad bin Hanbal. These two stories I bring for a reason, because these mothers and the children made sacrifices for what? To seek knowledge for the sake of Allah. To seek knowledge for the sake of Allah. That's important. I want to talk today about seeking knowledge for the sake of Allah. This knowledge of the deen, That's the inheritance of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I will mention later on a hadith which proves to you that he didn't leave us anything other than knowledge and his sunnah, which is knowledge. He didn't leave money. He didn't leave real estate. He left knowledge. So are we taking our rightful inheritance from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Now let's just bring ourselves fast forward. We've talked about centuries and centuries ago, the efforts they had to make to go and seek knowledge. Now we live in an age where, if we want to, knowledge is in your pocket. Every one of us carries a phone which can access the entire of Bukhari, Muslim, Tirmidhi, all the books of Hadith, any lecture on any subject of Islam you want. You can access it all from your pocket. These people were sacrificing time and effort and energy to go to the circles of knowledge. I'm not even saying we need to do that now. The question I ask myself before anyone else, what are we willing to do? We don't need to go through the streets in the cold. We don't need to wake up so early for the circle after Fajr. We have it in our pocket if we want to. I'm not saying that's the ideal. Of course, you should sit with a sheikh. But are we even willing to use that device, that phone, that laptop, that TV to seek knowledge of deen? Or is it trash? I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I had a shock to my system when I realized the iPhones now have an app timer. And they tell you your screen time on your phone, how long you're spending every day. And my heart went into my mouth when I realized my Quran app was not number one. My Quran app was not number one. So I have to stand before Allah for that time. Alhamdulillah, I'm trying to rectify that. Because I've got to stand before Allah. You all have to stand before Allah with the same thing. If Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or BBC News or whatever it may be is overtaking Allah's messages, just prepare your excuse now. Let's all think for a moment. What am I going to say to Allah on the Day of Judgment? You know what, your Quran's all well and good, but BBC was big that day. Brexit was going on. Are we willing to say that to Allah? Are we willing to say that we have these devices? We're not like Bukhari's mum, that we have to go to Makkah to find knowledge. We have devices full of knowledge because you can access it on your phone, in the tube, wherever you want. What are we doing? What are we wasting our time with? And that's why I want to talk about the importance of seeking knowledge. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, whoever seeks out a path to acquire knowledge of the deen, Allah makes for him an easy path to Jannah. Whoever seeks out a path to seeking knowledge of the deen, Allah will make an easy path for them to Jannah. If that was all I was going to say today, that should be enough. Trying to seek knowledge of deen, trying to find a path to seek knowledge of deen, Allah will make a path for us to Jannah. And we've just seen how easy our path can be compared to others. Again, Rasulullah said in another hadith, whoever Allah wants good for, listen very carefully, whoever Allah wants good for, He grants them understanding of deen. So when you start seeking knowledge, if Allah grants us this knowledge of deen, this is a ni'mah from Allah, whoever Allah wants good for. And this idea of the status of people of knowledge, let me explain to you how important their status is. Rasulullah said in a hadith in Ibn Dawood, Tirmidhi and Ibn Majah, the virtue of the scholar to the abid, so the alim compared to the abid, the worshipper, is similar to the virtue of the moon when it is full to the rest of the stars. Meaning what? You look up in the sky, the first thing you see, loud and proud, is the moon. The stars may be bigger far away, but nearby all you see is the moon. Verily, the scholars are the inheritors of the prophets. Verily, the prophets did not leave behind dirhams and dinar, but rather they left behind knowledge. Thus, whoever takes it as a bountiful share. Rasulullah is telling us about his inheritance, knowledge. We will fight for inheritance of money. Brothers and sisters, husbands and wives will kill each other to get money inheritance. Here Rasulullah is telling us, my inheritance, what I'm leaving you all, is knowledge. Are you going to take it? And if we're not taking it, what are we wasting our time doing? The position of the people of knowledge is such in the eyes of Allah that even Allah and the angels praise people who seek knowledge. Listen to this. Rasulullah ﷺ said, roughly translated, verily Allah and His angels, even the ant in its hole and the fish in the sea, verily they all pray for the one who teaches people good. Teaches people good. Those who impart knowledge to others, even the ant and the fish will pray for you. Are we doing that? Are we just taking knowledge and keeping it in ourselves, or are we passing it on? This is the status of those who seek knowledge and teach it. Another hadith. Rasulullah ﷺ said, may Allah grant light and happiness and beauty in the face of someone who hears a hadith from us and memorizes it until he passes it on to others. Someone who takes a hadith, hears it, memorizes it, and passes it on to others. The Prophet ﷺ is making dua. May Allah grant light and happiness and beauty in their face. These are important incentives for us to start thinking about how we seek knowledge. And here, a warning now. There's a warning. Umar al-Khattab once said, and listen very carefully, I'll explain what this means. Umar al-Khattab said, roughly translated, I seek protection from the strength and the enthusiasm of the sinner and the laziness of the God-conscious. He's making dua. Oh Allah, I seek protection from the strength and the enthusiasm of the sinner and from the laziness of the God-conscious, the muttaqi. Why? Because you may have taqwa of Allah, but we get lazy. Now why is he saying the strength and the enthusiasm of the sinner? Look around society today, anywhere in the world. Forget which society, anywhere in the world. We know the power of Qiyamul Layl, praying tahajjud, getting up in the middle of the night. We can stand before Allah and have our du'as answered. We can stand before Allah and witness His arrival in a metaphorical sense into the last third of the night in Sama' Dunya. But maybe we don't. But there will be party goers, the sinners, who can have energy. They'll be preparing, it's Friday night, from now, getting their stomach lined, a little bit of milk, a little bit of cream, get on the lash, get the money ready, get the clothes ready, party all night, get the drugs ready, whatever it may be. So the sinner is enthusiastic. They're going to be clubbing all night. They're going to be enjoying themselves all night. They're going to be committing zina. All these things, all the sins they can do with enthusiasm and passion. And here we are, so-called people of taqwa. And we're there passionate and dying to get out there on the lash. Are we having the same enthusiasm for the Qiyamul Layl? Or even Fajr in Jamaat? Or even a halaqah in our local mosque, or whatever it may be? Or are we, as Umar warned, the people of laziness of the muttaqi, and yet the people of sin that have enthusiasm and vigor? What's wrong? What's happened to us? Why have we become like this? Where are the Bukharis and the Muslims and the Ahmad bin Hanbals and the Abu Hanifas? Why are we not those people right now? And I point at myself, not any of you. Wallahi al-Azim, I'm saying this about me, not any of you. I'm not pointing a finger at anyone in this room. Why am I not like them? Some of the fuqaha, their passion for this. One of them mentioned once, he said that he had loved a dish in his town. It was called harisa. It was a sweet dish. He said, I loved this dish harisa, but for years and years and years I could never eat it because it only ever sold at the time of the halaqah. How much he was willing to give up. He loved this dish and he wanted it, but he could never eat it. He didn't say for weeks and weeks, oh, you know what, I'll go a bit late next week. Years and years he couldn't taste this dish. Why? Because he wanted to make sure he didn't miss a second of the halaqah. I'm not even saying, go back to where we started, I'm not even saying attend the halaqah. If you can, fantastic. I'm saying, what are we using our phones for? What are we watching? What are we listening to? What are we downloading? What's consuming our time? Ibn al-Jawzi once said, I have not seen a flaw more sad in a community than those who stop working even though they have ability to continue. Meaning working at what? Seeking knowledge. I would argue, alhamdulillah, every one of us in this room, every one of us in our community has some ability to seek knowledge of deen. We live in a city where there are courses. We live in a city where there are masajid everywhere. We live in a city where we find people to access, even if it's just on the internet, like I said. You can download lectures. You can download entire series. You can download courses of fiqh. You name it, it's all accessible. And the warning here is I have not seen a flaw more sad in a community than those who stop working, even though they have the ability to do so. Go back to what I said, when we have to stand before Allah with our apt times, and we have to make our excuses for why whatever it was came before Allah's word. What are we going to say when it comes to seeking knowledge of Deen? What are we going to say to Allah why we didn't access it? We have to think now, because it may be that this is our last day on this earth. We don't know when Allah is going to take our life. If tomorrow is our last day on earth, if today is our last day on earth, what are we going to say to Allah why we didn't seek knowledge of His Deen? When He is saying, Rasulullah is telling us how important it is that this is the inheritance of the prophets, that Allah and His angels are praising these people, that even the ant and the fish are making dua for these people. Why are we not those people? Why am I not those person? Wallahi, why am I not that person? Let's move on. We have to look at this issue then of seeking knowledge. What are the prerequisites? How do we reflect on it? How do we start going about it? The first thing we have to understand, what is our intention? What is our intention from seeking knowledge of the Deen? We all know the first hadith found in Bukhari and many other books of hadith is what? Actions are by intentions. Verily, actions are by intentions. What is our intention for seeking knowledge? We have to seek knowledge for the sake of Allah. We have to understand our Deen for the sake of Allah. We all know when it comes to issues, we will all want to go and we ask the scholar, we start Googling, we look for fatwas, we check with the Imam, whatever it may be. We're always wanting to know those things because it's relevant to our lives. We need to have knowledge to live our lives. Come Ramadan time, everyone's looking for the local Imam or the scholar or the faqih to ask their questions. Why? Because it's relevant. If we're living our lives for the sake of Allah, if we're living every day for the sake of Allah, everyday knowledge is relevant. Knowledge of wudu, knowledge of salah, knowledge of Quran, knowledge of hadith, knowledge of all of these things. Because every one of them is something we have to do. So we have to make our intention that we are seeking knowledge for the sake of Allah. Rasulullah said, whoever studies that which is meant for the sake of Allah, desiring only a piece of the dunya, he will not smell fragrance of Jannah on the Day of Judgment. If you study knowledge of Deen hoping for dunya, meaning what? You want money, or you want fame, or you want any of these things, then you will not smell Jannah. Nowadays, we may know of people, or we see people, who it appears they're only seeking knowledge for notoriety, they're only seeking knowledge for fame, they're only seeking knowledge to be known as people. That's not the right intention. The intention to seek it, learn it, impart it, is only for Allah's sake. So we begin our journey, inshallah, with looking at how we seek knowledge so we have the right intention. One of the scholars of the past said, a proper and sincere intention when studying Islam is to intend to win the pleasure of Allah by what you are doing. You should intend to practice what you learn, to resurrect the Sharia, hoping that this knowledge will shine light in your heart, cleanse your soul, and bring you closer to Allah on the Day of Judgment. Your intention for studying Islam should not be to win any worldly commodity like leadership or fame or riches. It should not be learnt so you can show off to your colleagues or so that people will revere you and sit you in a position of chief in their gatherings, and so on and so forth. So I say now, as we break for the second khutbah, if we're not currently in a position where we are seeking knowledge, and I imagine many of you are, but I feel that I'm not. So I ask myself, and maybe those who are in the same position as me, maybe as we sit for the two khutbahs, we renew our intention that we will seek knowledge for the sake of Allah, starting today. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم فاستغفروا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين ختم الأنبياء ورحمة للعالمين سيدنا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا ومولانا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. We also have to understand this. The first important thing is we make the right intention. We only want to seek knowledge of Deen for the sake of Allah. The second thing is we have to recognize we have an enemy. Allah describes our enemy as aduwwun mubin, an avowed open enemy in shaitan. And shaitan will do everything he can to stop us seeking knowledge of deen. Because as we've said, the importance of seeking knowledge of deen, we've already highlighted. Shaitan ain't going to like it. He's not going to let you go. Me go, you go, all of us go. He's going to do whatever he can to stop us from wanting to seek knowledge. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, roughly translated, the shaitan sits in the path of every goodness that the son of Adam may try to take. He sat in front of him when he took the path to Islam, and he told him, how could you leave the religion of your forefathers and your forefathers? He disobeyed him and he became Muslim. The shaitan then sat in front of him on the path to making hijrah, and he said, how could you leave your land and your sky? But he disobeyed him and he migrated to Makkah. Then he sat in front of him on his path to striving in the cause of Allah, and he said, why should you strive in the cause of Allah? It will only exhaust your wealth and your body. You will be killed. Your wife will marry someone else and your wealth will be divided. But he destroyed him and disobeyed him, and he went in the path of Allah. Rasulullah said, whoever does this, it is a duty upon Allah to give him Jannah. Whoever does this, it is a duty upon him for Allah to give him Jannah. So the one who opposes shaitan will try everything to stop us. One of the shuyukh said in a halaqah I used to attend, the shaitan tries to sit on your face. And I thought, well, what an odd thing that he's saying. But think about it. He gets right in your face to stop us. So Rasulullah is describing. And bear it in his mind. Actually, before I tell you about shaitan sitting on your face, Allah says in the Quran, a conversation between him and Iblis. Listen carefully. Shaitan says to Allah, when he's talking about leading us astray, he said, I will attack them. Where? On Sirat al-Mustaqim. From the front and the rear, and the left and the right. And verily you will find most of them ungrateful. Where is he going to attack us? If you're in the casino, if you're on the lash tonight, shaitan's like, alright, that one's sorted, he's good. Leave him there, he's happy. Let me go and focus on who? The one who said today, on Jummah, on this Friday, I'm going to start seeking knowledge. Let me go and focus on this one, because this one I've got to get back. So we recognize that shaitan attacks us on Sirat al-Mustaqim. If you're in the pub or the club or the brothel or the casino, shaitan's good with you. You're doing what he wants. He's happy. He's going for the one who tries to please Allah. So when we make this intention, shaitan will try to attack us. The first thing he will do to me today, and maybe even to one of you, if today, hearing this, I decide it's time for me to seek knowledge, I'm going to use my device if I can't find a halaqah. I'm going to use my laptop if I can't find a halaqah. I'm going to go and do it on my own if I can't find a mosque. Whatever intention I made to seek knowledge, shaitan is going to come to me today and say, that's brilliant, nice one. Why don't you start tomorrow? Because he knows by tomorrow that niyyah will have gone down a bit. Because right now we're buzzing. Why? It's Jummah. Everybody buzzes in Jummah. That's the purpose of the Jummah, an admonition. So as we're being admonished, we're reminded our iman starts to raise. That's why Allah ordained for us the Jummah khutbah, so we have this admonition. But by tomorrow, we go back a little bit more to normal. And by Thursday next week, we're proper normal. And in that space, this intention that you and I have today, I'm going to seek knowledge. My journey today on the way home on the tube will not be one of YouTube or BBC. It's going to be one of Quran or Hadith or Halaqah or YouTube looking at something beneficial of the deen. And then he'll come and say, you know what? Start tomorrow. And then Saturday he'll say, start Sunday. Sunday he'll say, start Monday. And before you know it, the intention is gone. Shaitan loves us to procrastinate. So my advice to myself today is, if I've made this intention, I start today. Shaitan will tell us, okay, look, that's really noble, and it's probably an important thing to do, but I'll do it later. Right now, I'm looking for my promotion. I need to be an HEO, I need to be an SEO, I need to get this job, I need to do that job, I need to get married. Boy, do I need to get married. I need to do all of these things. So once I've done those, then I can seek knowledge. Again, Shaitan. Why? Why do we have to wait? Surely the priority is Allah's pleasure. And all those things will come more with Allah's pleasure than with Allah's displeasure. Shaitan may even come to us and say, what's the point? What's the point in seeking knowledge? People come and they often say, what's the point? There's too many scholars anyway. Oh, I don't like differences of opinion. Oh, I stay away from mosques because they're horrible people there. Oh, I stay away from halakha because I don't like the smell. Oh, we will find every excuse in the book that Shaitan will give us to not seek knowledge. And this is important. The first and foremost thing we should do if we have made the intention is we make dua today that Allah gives us tawfiq to seek knowledge that pleases Him. Because as much as Shaitan is going to be there to oppose us, Allah is going to be there to help us. And Allah's help is accessed through what? وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الصَّابِرِينَ. Seek help in patience and prayer. Verily Allah is with the patient. Seeking knowledge will take patience. We'll have to give up things. We'll have to give up time. We may have to give up money if you want to sign up for a course. You may have to give up apps that you dearly beloved to. But the result is worth it. So we have to make that intention now. We have to make dua to Allah that Allah facilitates for us and gives us tawfiq that we can seek knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, when my servant asks you concerning me, tell them, Inni qareeb. I'm close. Inni qareeb, I'm very close. And I answer the call of every supplicant when he calls me. So we ask Allah today to facilitate for us this path to seeking knowledge of deen. We ask Allah to give us tawfiq to become amongst those who are praised even by the ants and the fish and the angels and by Allah Himself because we become people of knowledge. We ask Allah to give us tawfiq to become not only people who seek knowledge but deliver knowledge so that we can benefit from all those things Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us are the benefits. We ask Allah to increase us in Iman. We ask Allah to increase us in Ihsan. We ask Allah to increase us in Taqwa. We ask Allah to increase us in beneficial ilm that we can be pleasing to Him. We ask Allah to forgive us for all of our sins. The big of them, the small of them. The open of them, the hidden of them. The past of them, the present of them, and the future of them. We ask Allah to alleviate our suffering and the suffering of our brothers and sisters in Islam and our brothers and sisters in humanity, wherever they are and whatever situation they may be in. We ask Allah to make every single one of us shining ambassadors for the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. Surely Allah commands justice, good deeds, and generosity to relatives, and He forbids all shameful deeds, injustice, and rebellion. He instructs you so that you may be reminded. فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ وَاشْكُرُوا لِي وَلَا تَكْفُرُونَ. And remember me and I will remember you. Be grateful to me and do not reject faith. وَاللَّهُ ذَكَرُ اللَّهِ أَكْبَرُ وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ مَا تَصْنَعُونَ. And without doubt, the remembrance of Allah is the greatest thing in life, and Allah knows the deeds that you do. Akim was salat.